he's like, well, do you want to stay at Southland? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I would like to. That's why I moved down here. He's like, come to move me. And I was like, fuck no. Literally, I was like, fuck no. There's no chance I'm going to go work at move me. Like, I was scarred from dealing with that stuff. He's like, it's different. I promise. He's like, give me a week. Just come over there, take a look at some stuff. Maybe you can help us out. And I'm like, all right, I'll give you a week. So I went over there and like instantly fell back in love. Like, it was not having all that stress and the pressure. Like, every truck gets into an accident, like that goes to you and you have to figure it out and you deal with that stress. Whereas when you're just an employee, like, it's nice to make more money as an owner, but also like you're making more money for a reason. Like, it's very, very stressful. Mm-hmm. So I went over to do that, and he's like, well, you're going to be in the trucks for like 4 weeks because you got to earn the respect of these guys. You can't just jump into an office position and like nobody will respect you and it's not going to work out. I was like, fine.
I think that's legit.
What's that?
I think that's legit though.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. The good thing that worked to my favor is that at a conference the year before, I think it was the year before, their top 2 people in the business were up there for this conference. And I actually had to speak in front of the conference on a panel, basically about my story and all this stuff. So basically what I just went through there, like that's what I told them. And so I kind of had a little bit of validation already. So like these guys knew who I was. They're like, there's respect there already. So I went on 3 moves, and after 3 moves, I was off the trucks and started to help out with just people development, training, and stuff like that. So did that for a little short while, and then a customer service, like customer experience manager is what it's called. She quit, and they needed somebody, and they're like, well, you know how to deal with customers and stuff. So they tossed me into that. So then I was doing that for a little bit. We hired, Last Chance U, the show on Netflix. Okay, so it's basically
I think I've heard of it though.
So it's a junior college football program show where you basically have like people that, it's last chance. So it's basically like people that have messed up and they need to get their life straightened out so they can get a scholarship and go to a different school. And one of the coaches on there, he was hired at You Move Me to kind of like to run the expansion of this, because they've always wanted to expand to more, but it's been a rocky go. So he came in and we butted heads hard. Like, this guy is very director personality, straight to the point, very blunt. And I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. But then I just had to talk to him like heart to heart. And like, he did a lot of the things he did because like, he's very smart when it comes to psychology. He understands how people tick, and he knows certain ways. So when you get yelled at in front of people, it's not to embarrass you, it's to show the importance of what you did wrong to the people that are out there on the trucks. Like, oh, you messed up the schedule and now it's going to mess up their lives. Like, I'm going to yell at you in front of them so they know that we care about them. And, so it's kind of more of like, there's a strategy to it. And once I understood that, it kind of changed my perspective. And then he just started throwing stuff at me. He's like, hey, payroll's wrong all the time. I want you to do payroll, fix it. So now I'm doing payroll and customer service. Hey, we're damaging on stuff. I want you to do all of our training. So you'll take all of our orientation, which is twice a week, and ongoing training. I want you to build the ongoing training and train guys so they know what they're doing. So I just get all this stuff thrown at me, and I was like, holy crap, but you don't want to say, no, I can't do that. So you just take it. And then here we are now. We just started our launch program for getting the entrepreneurs out. And I've been tasked with building systems for day one through being an owner, all the training that is required for that time. And I was actually working on it before they asked me to, because I just like that kind of stuff. So it's that's why I'm in Kansas City. That's how we got here.
That's why you're a good guy then, if you're already working on it before they even asked you to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like through that whole story, like one thing that really stuck out was just that you always let yourself be available to like try those things. And then that just kept happening. Like an opportunity came and you were hesitant at like all of them, but you ended up doing all of them anyways. And like you're okay with doing like seizing those opportunities as they came.
Absolutely.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way to do anything. You have to at least try it.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes the scarier it is, the more you should just jump. Like owning a business, I had no clue what I was doing, like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started listening to books and watching videos on YouTube, and like it's such a different world these days.
So it makes me think a lot of what I'm doing now at Cisco, but it's it's like a smaller scale. Like when I hear your story, it just seems so much like bigger. Like you're traveling different places, you're like running businesses and talking to GMs and stuff like that. But on a smaller scale wise, I started out in the warehouse, and like I hated doing that warehouse position job, the order selecting. So I'm just running around lifting boxes, building pallets, right? And then there was like a sign-up sheet for being cross-trained on like forklift and loading trailers, and for yard spotting, which is moving the semi-trailers around in the yard. And I just put my name on all three things. I'm like 3 months in, and then next thing I know, I'm being cross-trained on how to load trailers. And then I'm loading trailers for a little while too, but there's like ups and downs to why that job sucks too. And I keep mentioning about how I'm interested in learning other things. And eventually I end up out in the yard filling in for the night guy, the yard spotter, for when he's not around. And now, like, once I get to that point, I'm like in a situation where I don't even know what I'm going to do on a nightly basis. Like it could be one of those three things. And then there's a point where we have these robo wrappers that wrap our pallets before we put them in trucks. And one of our robo wrappers broke down. And so they asked me if I'd be willing to just wrap pallets by hand all night. So I said, yeah. And so for like 3 months, I just like became this robo wrapper replacement, right? It was just hand wrapping pallets for guys to load on trailers. And then I went in and had a meeting with the transportation VP. And I was like, I'd really like to get into sales, and I'd really like to develop a career path to get there from where I'm at now. Like, I don't want to be in the warehouse forever. And I did that, and we came up with this path where I would eventually become a driver and start doing deliveries. And then I could transition into sales. And in the meantime, I needed to get my CDL, and he set up a meeting for me to have with the sales VP. So then I went and I had like an informal sales interview with the sales vice president. And he said that he liked the path that I was going to try to do. And he like suggested I read some sales books. And then that was kind of like that. At that point, it's just like, all right, now show me you're going to do what you say. Right. And then I get the books. What's interesting about like reading these sales books, like, and I don't know how you felt about being a salesman before you became one, but there's like a really bad stigma to that job position where you're somebody who's going to rip people off, or you're going to be sleazy about whatever. And I never really thought of it that way. I always thought of it like, no, I'm like, I want to help people be successful. And a good position to do that is to be that sales, especially for Cisco. I'm selling people a food service, right, to restaurants and schools and hospitals. And so really the way I'm envisioning it in my head is like, I'm kind of like just a business partner with the restaurant owner, and they're going to be like, we need these things delivered at this time. Can you help me like solve this problem and get things going? And I like the idea of that. And after I read these books, it was actually more of a confirmation. They're all like integrity based. You don't sell to people that don't want or need whatever service you're providing. There is a certain degree of which you may have to like convince somebody that they do need that service because maybe they're just not aware of whatever problem that you see. But anyways, that was nice being like confirmed from these books that this position or my ideas of what a good salesperson is exactly what's being taught through successful salespeople, right? So then I go and I get a day spotting. I wanted to be the night spotter. I wanted to practice driving trailers around so I could get my CDL. That position wasn't opening up, so a day spotting position opened up. And that's more, it's not really the same. I'm more during the day when the drivers come back, I would like empty out all the pallets from their trailer and then I'd fuel up. They're all refrigerated trailers. So I'd fuel up their trailer and their semis and then I'd go park and stage them. So I did that for a while. And then I got like my CDL temps. Like it's like getting your driver's license all over again. So I got my temps and then I was supposed to be doing like some behind the wheel experience, whatever, with our trainer. Well, like the months that it was supposed to take place, the trainer was being sent out to other states to help out other Ciscos. I don't remember what was going on, but we were sending a bunch of people out. So we didn't have like that kind of training staff. So then I was just like, all right, well, I'm not really happy with this timeline. So I'm just going to go out and get my CDL myself. So then I go to the place, I do the behind the wheel. Typically, though, if I had gone through Cisco would pay for all this. But I was like, this is an investment in myself and it's taking too long. So I'm gonna take it in my own hands. So I had to like pay to rent a semi and trailer and then like go to the school or whatever and then like do the behind the road test. I did that and I passed it. And then I came in the next day and like put my driver's license on the desk and was like, all right, I'm ready to be a driver now. And then and then COVID hit. And then we shut down, like there was huge layoffs or whatever, but eventually I came back. Well, I didn't actually ever leave. I was just on leave for most of the extreme shutdown. And then I came back and I became a driver and I was doing that for a while. And then they asked me if I was willing to fill in on nights and be a shuttle driver. So on nights, we have different yards that we take trailers to. Like, so our warehouse is in Jackson and we have drivers out of Racine and Hampshire, Illinois, and Green Bay and Appleton. And we have like we call them yards, but they're like other people's parking lots. And so at night, these shuttle drivers will just drive a loaded trailer out there and bring an empty one back. So then I got cross-trained as a shuttle driver. And I started doing that for a while. And then I was like, most recently I came in and I was just like, when is this, the sales thing going to happen now? Like, I feel like I've pretty much worked every single position I can in warehouse and transportation other than management at this point. And at the time, right now we're going through like a really bad labor shortage. Like our warehouse is really understaffed. We don't really have very many drivers. And I find myself in like this valuable key place to where they can put me wherever they want and I can do that job. So I started filling in on nights back in the warehouse again to help the guys out. And I heard that they posted a part-time position for a warehouse that was supposed to be seasonal, end in September, which is when kind of our slow season starts. And I was thinking that this would be a good opportunity for me to just be like, all right, I'll take this seasonal position. And then when it ends in September, let's have those sales talks. So then I go in and like suggest this to the transportation VP. And we're also trying to lower our case count. And so we're trying to transfer some of our business to a different Cisco location. And he was telling me about this business deal that they're doing. He's like, if it all works out, there might be this sweet position that we're going to have to create to transport some of this product. And I was thinking, if you got your triples and doubles endorsement, which means I can pull 2 to 3 trailers at a time, that would be a position that I'd like you to take. And then also he asked me if I'd be willing to like travel out to other Cisco's to help out when they're short staffed, like what was happening when I was trying to get my behind the wheel training. He's like, since you know how to, you can be a driver, you can be a yard spotter, you can be a order selector, you can be a loader, you can be part of the elite squad to like go out and travel around and help these guys out. And so that's kind of like where I find myself now. But that was the comparison that I'm seeing is when an opportunity came, I took it. And I've never like become stagnant. I've always had something else to go to. And so I would definitely suggest that same strategy, whether it's like from like your experience where it's like a bigger scale, or even if you do find yourself in that factory job or warehouse, you can still implement that same strategy and get some sort of better set of satisfaction other than feeling, because I've been at factories and felt stuck and like it's terrible. Like why would I want to do this for the rest of my life? So that's pretty cool that we haven't spoken in a really long time, and it seems like we still kind of had that same mentality when it came to career wise.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have to gotta jump.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What you said sales books? What sales books did you read?
So the one that was suggested to me by the sales vice president was The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gitmore.
Yep.
Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah, I read it.
Okay. Yeah. So I read that, and then I've read a couple. I read Think and Grow Rich. I've listened to the audio version of 7 Levels of Selling by Stefan Arnio, who's kind of like a more recent author. He's written books like, he was a real estate guy. He died last year. He's like 34, something like that.
Damn.
But he was like super big real estate guy and was writing a bunch of books. Great books. Books like this one here. I'll show you. I don't know if it's backwards for you, but Hard Times Create Strong Men. Stefan Arnio. I would highly suggest it.
Nice. That's there's a saying that I heard recently that had that it was like the guy that founded Dubai, I believe, somewhere in the Middle East, and he said that his dad rode a camel, he drives a Mercedes, his son drives a Land Rover, his grandson will drive a Land Rover, and then his great-grandson will ride a camel again. Because hard times make strong men make easy times make weak men. So he said,
exactly.
So yeah, that's when I saw the hard times make strong men, that's spot on. But you see that a lot with rich people, like rich families, that you get like that next generation of complacency where they're like, I don't have to work for it, like this was given to me, and then it's just a cycle and it goes through that. So stuff does happen.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest going through that. So what do you see in your future? What are your future ideas and projects? Are you staying with You Move Me? Is there somewhere else, like a new position you're going to? I guess you're just starting out this elite training, right? So
yeah, for the near future, I want to, so we're just signed a deal to open 25 locations in the next 7 years. Like we have to, like they're giving us a good deal on the franchise fees. So like, it's not an option. So it's exciting because a lot of times, like we're talking about, like when you force something, like you figure it out. So I think that's cool that we're not like, well, let's kind of hold back. Let's see how it goes. Like, we're just like, fucking, we gotta do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, you put yourself in that pressure situation.
Yeah.
And like that, it unlocks creativity if you're with a good, like if you have that mentality, for sure.
Absolutely. So I want to be a part of that for sure. I think so. I did a presentation for like the structure there. Southwind is like the parent company, and then you move me 1-800-Junk and MVP, the HVAC company. They're like the sister companies of each other. So at Southwind, there's a leadership meeting every week, twice a week. So one of those meetings where like all the people that run all the businesses are there. So it's like the top people, the CEO runs it usually. And they wanted me to do a presentation on the opportunity that we have in front of us. So I did research on 2 Men and a Truck, which is the largest like residential moving company in the United States. And they have 380 locations. They do $700 million in revenue a year. And we're over here like, oh, cool, 25 locations. That's so crazy. And I'm like, fuck that. The guy that ex-football coach from Last Chance U, the guy that came and worked with us now, he always has this saying. He's like, don't be worried about picking up dimes. Be worried about picking up dollars. He tells that to the guys in the sense of like, hey, you guys are worried about making good tips now, making a little bit more money, but like you should be looking at owning these because that's the dollars you should be looking to pick up. Don't worry about these dimes. That's what I was thinking. Like, damn, 25 that's dimes.
Yeah.
Locations out there. And the crazy thing in business is once you get it rolling. Have you ever seen the movie The Founder about McDonald's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like they started off slow. It took a while to get those first couple, but then it just blows up because you start to get those systems and processes, and then it's just like hand them a playbook and open the place up. So I think that there'll be a rapid expansion, and I definitely want to be a part of that. I know looking back, it's going to be really cool to be like, hey, I was here in the beginning. What you moved me as a whole, like being in like 2014, a year after it opened up, but also being here at this, because this is kind of a different stage of the business. This is kind of like we're about to blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
So like I said, there's 20 locations that are open in the United States that are franchisee owned. And we here are going to plan to double that just with our resources. So I really think that it's going to get to a point where Kansas City is going to be kind of the hub of development for these. And I really see it being more of a, most franchises, just a business person comes in, they're like, hey, I want to make money. This seems like a good plan. Like, I think it's going to be more of, we're going to only be the people that develop that. We don't want people to just come off the street and open that up, because that's why it wasn't successful before, because it's definitely an owner-operator kind of business. Like, you have to, starting on the trucks has a lot of value. I feel like the little success I had was because I was on the trucks. I knew what the guys were going through. I knew the struggles, the challenges. I knew how hard it was, and not just looking at, well, hey, you're getting paid, like, quit bitching. Like, you know how difficult it's going to be. You know, if you go into a nasty house that you're like, it kind of sucks. Like, let's pat him on the back today. So definitely want to be a part of that. I don't know what that time frame looks like, but I do have some passion projects still out there that I would like to do at some point. I started a pre-workout supplement company when I was like 23.